Welcome to the 7th episode of Partho. Hey guys, it's just me tonight. Molly's not feeling well, so we're going to do this one. I'm not solo because we do have our guest, but y'all wish Molly get well soon in the comments, or send get well cards to her house. Message me, I'll send you her address. Just kidding. So we do have Babu on tonight. We're going to be talking to him about the Southeast Reptile Expo, who I see in the chat. Very happy to have you guys there. Between us, chat, Molly didn't show up because she does not like Bob. So that was a little awkward, and we're just going to kind of breeze past it like it's not true. This is super awkward to do completely by myself, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Bob on. I don't like that by myself.
Yeah, you're just like monologuing. It was kind of...
Yeah. I know, like, there's some people who do it really well, like Chris Eaton and Adam Shira from Proper Royals, but by myself, not fun.
Yeah, I've done like the TikTok lives and the Instagram live, but then I feel like I'm just talking for like 20 minutes. Yeah, it's not good.
Talking to chat or whatever. I don't know how streamers do it. That's tough.
Like, wait, chat, and then they like try to respond to them, and it's like,
yeah. But I don't think you really need an introduction. I think everybody here knows you, though our names aren't showing up. Not sure if I can fix that. But do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
I am Babu, owner of Bob's Balls, and we are doing the Southeast Reptile Expo. I've had a few people actually ask me if I was the owner for that show, if they haven't seen all over Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that we blasted that everywhere. But there are a few people that aren't on social medias. I've had some breeders text me personally like, hey, do you know who owns that show? We want to get in touch with them. And I'm like, hey, it's
looking at them.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So what made you want to put on a reptile show? Is that something you've been wanting to do for a long time?
I feel like I've discussed it before, but again, I've always been vending under either Repticon, Show Me, NARBC, and all these other branches. And I've always done well at the shows, even when I did Repticons, even when I did Show Me's, I've always done well. So there was never a need for it. And then in Atlanta, there's just this hole of shows, and we all went through, the drama that happened. And, so in my opinion, we needed a show. I couldn't get any of these other guys to come in. I have discussed it with Potter maybe 3 or 4 years ago about bringing NARBC to Atlanta. And at the time, they did not want to expand NARBC. I've discussed it with Wayne, and he says, no corn snakes equals no show. So I've talked to a lot of people about it. No one wanted to come to Atlanta until Reptilian Nation did. And they actually did very well. They brought in a lot of people through the door. You guys vended that show last year, and it was a good time. The way I would describe what happened and what went down in ball python terms, to make this a little bit easier to understand in my mind, this is what went through in my mind. Again, I understand that there's probably a misunderstanding between me and the owner of Reptilian Nation or whatever happened, but in my mind, this is what happened. Okay, so
very diplomatic.
If I'm the breeder and you inquired with me about a Desert Ghost clown, he was like, I really need a Desert Ghost clown, and I say, well, yeah, I'll have them. And you inquired a year ago, and you're like, man, I just need a Desert Ghost clown. Do you have any hatching? I said, cool, I'm pairing for them right now. I have them. I'm working on it right now. So 2 months later, you're like, hey, how's that pairing going? Like, you guys say, get any locks? Or you guys moving forward anything? Any eggs? And I said, no, I'm still working on it. I'm working on it. We'll have something soon. And 3 months later, you ask again because you were like, man, I really need this Desert Ghost clown male soon to get him breeding next year. You ask again, and I say, I'm still working on it. I haven't sent you any pictures of eggs. I haven't sent you pictures of locks. I have nothing I've given you, but I'm working on it. Then you message one of my friends and say, hey, do you know if Bob's going to have any DG clowns or anything like that? And they're like, no, Bob said he's not even working on that project, and he's not going to have any available this year. Then you go out 6 months later, you're like, man, I really just need to do something. And you buy a breeding pair of double heads and you breed them together and you produce DG clowns and you post them for sale. As the breeder, should I be mad at you?
No,
No. So in my
absolutely not.
opinion, if I was mad, let's say if I was mad, sure. I can be mad all I want. Oh man, I finally hatched these DG clowns. I can be mad at you, but I'm not really justified. I
Mhm.
haven't given you any reason to think I'm going to hatch it. I might have been just dragging you along, hoping I might hatch one eventually or find one to sell you down the road. So in my opinion, that's how I would, relate that to ball pythons. And I jump the gun and book the show? I don't think so. Considering we announced our show around May and June, which is only gives you 3 months to advertise the show. In my opinion, a show needs 3, 4, 5 months of preparation, which we have been preparing for this. And for the other show to announce 3, 4 weeks ago is, in my opinion, it's just not enough time to prepare for a great show. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so I I mean, I know my own opinion on it. We really enjoyed vending last year. So we obviously wanted to vend again, but nobody had come around to like ask people to sign up for tables. And we just kind of wanted to make sure we had our foot in the door. So I know there's like a screenshot of an email kind of going around with the name blocked out. And I appreciate whoever not blocked the name out for taking the initiative, but I don't mind saying that was the email that we had reached out to say, hey, we had a really great time. We wanted to see if we were like ready to get back on a wait list or like how we could make sure we could vend again. And we received an email saying that you're not going to be coming back. Um, and then, we had talked to you about it because we also want a show in Atlanta. We live 3 hours from Atlanta. It is that Reptilian Nation show was the best show close to us. So we really wanted it to come back as well. So I was checking the website pretty frequently afterwards because after talking to you, you said, "Oh, he's thinking about it. He's trying to find another venue." He says, so we kept our eye on the website. We look, and Atlanta was just gone. It wasn't on the list, and it didn't seem to be on that list until a couple weeks ago. And it was venue coming soon or to be announced, and the vendor list, which it's still, at least as of yesterday, I think, the only vendor list is the people who vended last year on there. So to me, I also wouldn't have put any eggs in that basket because we're used to agreeing to shows at the end of the last show. Like if we ever do a Repticon, we sign up for our tables at the end for next time at the end of the show. And they send out an email months in advance asking vendors to sign up if you haven't already. So I agree. I there's a lot going on, but I think anybody who's involved, it's pretty clear what the truth behind it is.
Right. So Daytona for 2025 dates just got announced this
Mhm.
week. Troy just announced his 2025 Denver show and Charlotte show today. And his show for Charlotte hasn't even happened, and he's announcing next
Yeah.
year's already.
What is
You
the date
know,
next year? I haven't seen that yet.
he sent it. He texted to me
Okay,
earlier, and I know
okay,
they
never mind.
posted on their page. So I believe it's the 28th of September. That
Oh,
weekend,
okay.
is 27th,
Again,
28th.
okay. I didn't
Yeah.
know if they were gonna try to move it back to November because I know that was the original date they were hoping for.
I was actually hoping to, because that gives us a little buffer between my show and his. But again, his show is only 4 hours away. It doesn't affect us that much.
Yeah.
But I like knowing ahead. I want to know a year
Mhm.
ahead, especially as now, being a promoter, or I have my own show. Now, when I book my show, I don't want to book my show the same weekend. So I can call my venue and say, hey, these are the dates I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to stack a show on top of Choice show, knowing we have the same vendors, within 4 hours. it's really, I mean, the foot traffic probably won't hurt us being 4.5 hours away from each other, but the vendors will. Like I say, a vendor like you guys. Now you have to choose,
Yeah.
do I vend Troy's show or Bob's show? And it's terrible. I don't want to have to choose. But knowing a year ahead, I can call my venue and say, these are the dates I absolutely don't want. And I can kind of work around. So, I just feel like as a promoter, you got to give at least vendors a chance, 6 months, 3-4 months, whatever it is, in advance to book and to plan. And then you notice, again, like you mentioned, we are 2.5 weeks away from our show, and they don't have a vendor list, most likely or they don't have an updated vendor list, most likely because it's when you announce a show a month out.
And I know one time, well, I guess, what are your thoughts about the show being the same week? Does it, how are you feeling about it? Or does it stress you out at all?
Of course it stresses us out, because the one marketing thing that he's using that is actually smart but also annoying is he has banners out that are very vague. It just says Reptile Show has moved, and then it puts his venue. It doesn't say what reptile show. So we're having people actually message us, be like, hey, did your show move? It just says, the banner just says Reptile Show has moved, so,
Which is
and he
technically
also
true,
blasted it
yes.
all around our venue. Yeah. So I think he did that one on purpose. Again, he could have picked the week before us, the week after us, whichever. I know the week of our show, there's already another show going on in his venue, which is the Culture Collision. I've been to that show. It's a shoes and like sports card show. So I know like there's other weeks available. He picked that week specifically so that the marketing is going to be a little bit easier. He just has to put a sign that says Reptile Show has moved, and people will get confused with our show and hop on over.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are like current with things, people who are on social media, they know which one they want to go to and they know the difference. But if you're like an Atlanta resident, it would definitely be confusing. I believe we vended a show in Duluth one year. I call it the worst show we ever vended, but we were like, oh, we want to vend the Atlanta Repticon. Oh, it's in Duluth. That's Atlanta. So we vended that show, and I think the Atlanta Repticon was going on the same weekend, like, because we were new to vending and all that, and that show wasn't great. It was a Repticon, and it was kind of farther out, but they also don't, I'm pretty sure maybe it was a show me show. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was two at the same time. But you guys are putting a lot more into advertising.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if both shows still performed well. I'll be honest, this is the most I've ever seen them advertise. And we are advertising a lot. Obviously, we spent $5 already right there advertising.
Yeah.
So we're advertising a lot. We're putting a lot of effort into this. And not only that, but our vendors have put, again, like you guys, have done an amazing job with the videos. And, we have Antoine, we have JMG, we have everyone coming together and pushing this show to make it happen. And in my opinion, one of the reasons being is that people want this show to be successful so that we can have the same show moving forward. We can have this show again next year, or, and turn this into a big thing, because people in the Southeast, your only other options for a big show is Daytona. Or drive 12 hours to get to Tinley or, Dallas. And that's a haul, especially for you guys. For guys in Florida, my goodness.
Don't go to Tinley with Bob, because he drives overnight and it's exhausting.
It's
shows up to Tinley at 10 a.m. and I don't recommend it.
Yeah, so it's unfair, right? Because I have 4 guys driving for Tinley, and you guys don't. So I was thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, they're gonna be exhausted. But
I was so crabby.
We leave at midnight, and we arrive in Chicago or around Tinley Park around like 11, 12 o'clock. We eat lunch, and then we vend the whole day. And so it's pretty rough.
So I was kind of wondering if that was you running the chat at the same time. And I thought, wow, you're doing a great job doing it.
Never look down or nothing. Yeah, amazing.
Oh, we
No,
got somebody. We
that's
got
probably Daniel. That's
yeah,
gonna
I
be Daniel.
assumed it was Daniel. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We got Dave and Heather who asks if you need any volunteers. I'm assuming for um like security or something for the show.
Yeah, just message us. We can always use people to either help with the moving stuff
I meant like
around or
tickets, not security,
tickets.
but I don't know why I said
I
that.
mean, security. Unfortunately, like at first, I was thinking like the venue was like, "Oh, you need security." I'm like, "I have Chris," and they're like, "No, we need
Our
like
people.
security.
Yeah.
They have to vet through them and all that." So we do have armed guards, armed security on site. And they're like, "You need one for every 3,000 attendees you plan to have, or something like that." So we're like, "Cool, we'll just book multiples just in case." Yeah,
Nice.
but yeah.
Atlanta is interesting for like the guards in like hotels and stuff. When we booked our hotel last year for September Reptilian Nation, I just grabbed something nearby and cheap. It's like we're gonna spend like 2 nights, no big deal. Let's just grab like a cheap hotel. And there was an armed guard in the hotel lobby, but he wasn't wearing like a uniform. He was just a guy with a gun and a bulletproof vest and like just hanging out. And I thought that was like, I was like, I don't know how I feel, if I feel better about this is just, is he supposed to be here? I couldn't tell. He
That'd
was
be
just
funny if he's like, "I actually don't work here. I'm just
yeah,
hoping somebody
he's like,
pops
I
up."
just like
Yeah,
to intimidate the
yeah.
guests. But yeah, so we booked one of the hotels that you guys
Did I
had on the
freeze?
list, and I appreciate. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're frozen. Oh no, good face to freeze on.
Nope, nope. I
There you
didn't
are.
freeze. Yep, I thought I
Oh, you
froze. I
did.
did freeze.
You
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
You froze like this.
yeah. Mm,
We were like that for a good minute. We
yeah.
got a chat. Did you grab a what do they call it? A
You got
clip?
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so we booked a hotel that was on the list, and I appreciate that. I really like when shows do that because again, you don't end up at a random hotel airport with an armed rando in the lobby. Um, just curious on how that works, like how you choose the hotels. Do you just kind of reach out and ask like, hey, are you guys willing to do a group rate on a specific type of room?
The venue
Or
actually recommended certain hotels that are
okay.
nearby that they usually work with that will give us a better rate.
Mhm.
Also, shout out Brianna. Brianna is actually Mary's high school like classmate or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
she had messaged Mary and was like, "Hey, we haven't talked since high school, and we do snakes now." So
That's so cool.
yeah,
Small world.
yeah. But
My
yeah, the venue actually will give us a list of hotels. We emailed the whole list, and then the certain ones will let us know, what their rates are, and we basically chose the best looking rooms and rates, and then posted it. I
oh,
actually am
nice.
vending Reptilian Nation. I'm gonna vend both shows. So, yeah. I'm kidding. I'm not.
Um, there is a list of vendors on the Southeast Reptile Expo website, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the
So
list of vendors, we're gonna have to update it again tomorrow because we squeezed another vendor in there today.
nice.
Like anytime they email me and they're like, "Hey, this person wants to vend," and it's like something not ball python or
Yeah.
crested gecko, we're like, "Cool, that's good for the
Diversity.
show." Right? Like there's like a milk snake breeder, like that's all they do is milk snakes. I'm like, hell yeah, get them in. And oh, it is up to date now.
Look at
Okay, cool.
they're
Daniel's
on
on it.
it.
Yeah, we were on the phone earlier, and he goes, "I should probably update this," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we can do it later." And then yeah,
Hey, Daniel, if you need any freelance stuff, I got a to-do list for you.
yeah. Hey, let him finish this show first. September 16th, he's yours.
Well, I was going to tell you about my reptile show that I'm putting on in Atlanta, September 13th or 14th or 15th. That's what
You
this
should
is
do it on
actually
like
about.
the 12th and 13th, right? But actually,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, probably a terrible show.
Oof, rough. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even realize.
Yeah.
So Steven isn't going to be at Southeast this year because he had already made commitments to go up to the CRBE in Canada.
Right.
So I'll be vending and I'm bringing Katrina and Ro from Ink Lady Morphs with me. So this is the first time they're going to get the opportunity to like be behind the table and experience that. So they're really excited. I'm really excited to have them. Um, and we've been hoarding our animals for the show, so we
Oh,
haven't posted
no pressure.
anything to Morph Market. Yeah, mostly because we got 2 tables, and we've always stuck to 1 table because it's easier for us. So we're excited. We're really excited about our spread.
This is not Tinley, right? Once you
No,
book your
no.
table, you can always up it down the road. It's not like you're capped at 2 tables.
Well, no, no, no. We just have always gotten 1 table, and we were like, we want to have 2 tables. Like, we want to have enough to like fill 2 tables, but we always sell online very
Yeah.
heavily. Like, we can't really keep stuff once we start posting it, just because Steven has the YouTube, and a lot of people um have developed a parasocial relationship with him, and they want to buy from him. So just kidding. Not really. But yeah, so Ro is in the chat, and we're really excited to have them there with us. I think there's a lot of people who are coming like traveling in for the show. We know a couple people coming in from Illinois, which is, that's a long way to come for a reptile show. That's like what you do for a national show.
Yeah, we have Kenny and 8 other Puerto Ricans are flying in.
Nice.
Yeah, because he messaged me about hotels, so we got them coming in. I have probably, God, maybe 30 or more Patreon members coming in. Some flying in and some just driving in. Some coming in from Chicago, some from Virginia, Florida. Obviously, a lot of Floridians are coming up. I feel like everyone's kind of waiting for like a show to be excited about other than Tinley, because Tinley is the biggest hyped show in the country or in the world, in my opinion. But then after Tinley or before Tinley, there's not much, right? Daytona is a big party, and then the high's gone. I feel like hopefully this show kind of can just come in and kind of fill in that spot a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would be great. And again, it's close to me, and I've got tables there, so I'm excited to have a lot of people there. So Steven and I do a Patreon, and we do like a weekly like voice like I guess podcast or like audio only show. And we had talked about the Southeast Reptile Expo thanks man, a couple weeks ago, when we first found out that there was a little bit of back and forth, but Steven was up to date and I wasn't. Like, we hadn't really talked about it. So like on our recording, he's like, yeah, and they booked the same dates. And like that's when I found out that happened. So we have like on audio me finding out and being like, what were they and we actually had a couple people who listened to that episode tell us like, we're going to Bob's show, like we're traveling in from Illinois or from like our local area because of that episode, just to show support. So
Awesome.
I think people really respect you and they want to be a part of it. I think they also know that you put a lot into your setup and your company and everything that you do, so they know that you're going to do the same for the show. I know we had kind of chatted about it at Tinley when you were still kind of getting the feel for what was going on with SERE. And you had said like, oh, if it doesn't go well, I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to embarrass myself. How are you feeling about it now? Is it something like, do you still feel that way? Like if it doesn't meet your expectations, you'll let it go? Or do you think you'll do it again no matter what?
I think I have more pressure of the show performing than, let's say, a smaller show, just because of again, like you said, how much effort we put into the show and into what we do overall as a business. My setup, everything. Like, I want everything to be perfect, and I'm not sure that I have it in me to look vendors in the eyes and say, hey, we're coming back again next year, after having 1,500 attendees walk through the door. After all the hype and we get 1,500 people through the door, I'm not sure I can. Again, like I've mentioned in posts before, I said we will have a second show if vendors want us there. If vendors want us back, we will come back. But I could imagine vendors not want us to come back if they're not making money. And 1,500 people, 2,000 people through the door is not going to accomplish that.
Yeah.
My number is going to be much larger, and we're going to do everything we can to push it to where we can justify coming back, not just from our wallets, where we make money, but so that vendors can make money. At the end of the day, that's the big part of it, is making sure that the vendors themselves make money and want to come back and want us to come back.
For me, I feel like it's not unlikely that there would be a growing pain as people like find out. And hey, Mary.
Hi.
I was actually, Bob had mentioned your friend vending the show. Is it Brienne, you said?
Oh, it's her first time attending.
Brianna, she just got
Oh,
into
she's
ball pythons.
Nice.
She's from South Georgia. Literally, check her out on Morph Market. I think I'll have to tell Bob what her link is and we can share it. But she's just getting started and she's so excited. This is like such a niche market to her.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely check her out and we'll follow her and everything. I'm excited. I was gonna say Mary has one of my favorite stories where she was talking. I can't remember who you said you were talking to, but you were talking about Bob doing the ball pythons, and they were like, "Oh, I have somebody who I go to church with who also does ball pythons." And Mary's like, "Oh yeah, well." Yeah, well, my husband, he does, he's a really big deal. What's your friend's name? And they're like, I think his name's like Justin Kabilka.
We're like, never heard of that guy.
Yeah, I can't wait for Justin to actually know this story one day when I see him, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, like what a small world. Like, I'm so excited someone else has snakes. Like, tell me, like, what's his name? And they're like, yeah, his facility's pretty okay.
Okay.
His name is Justin Kabilka. But like, we've heard so much about it. I'm like, actually, we're kind of busy. It's cool.
Yeah, if you went to Justin's and you thought it was okay, yeah, I'm not inviting you over.
That was, I think when you were telling this story to us, you were like, actually, it's more of a hobby for us. We're not. That cracked me up.
I don't even like ball pythons that much, really.
No, that is too funny. So talking about the show, is Mary going to be at the show?
Yeah, she'll be working either the front desk or something.
It's called free labor.
Yeah, labor of love.
They're not paying you?
Well, what?
I don't believe it. I think you could put your foot down. You just put a tip jar.
That's what she should do, a tip jar.
Nice. So for the show, speaking of like paying people, in as much detail as you're comfortable with, roughly how much does it cost to put on something like this?
So no one is getting paid.
Nice.
Until the show is over. I told everybody this straight up from the beginning, and everyone agreed. Everyone will get paid based on the percentage of the show.
Oh, nice.
If the show does amazing, everyone gets paid a bunch. And I hate doing like, oh, hey, I'm gonna give you $2,000 or $1,000 to do this, and then the show pops off, and they're like, damn, I did all that for $1,000, and Bob's gonna rake in all this money. Or at the end of the show, I'm broke, and so I think percentage base is really good. Everyone would just get paid a percentage based on their role in the business. And I think that's very fair. That's how I do my bonuses at the end of the year for everybody for Christmas bonus. But in order to put on this show, okay, I'll just go into details. I feel like transparency for a show promoter is pretty important too. The venue was $37,500.
Jesus
that's
Christ.
For the venue. Yeah, that's the venue for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Power is $3,500.
You need to buy a conference center.
Yeah. When they actually told me the price, I was like super sticker shocked, but I'm like, I thought it was gonna be 30 grand, something around there. So yeah. But yeah, I'm 7% of the show, so it's a pretty big deal.
Christ. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so the venue is $37,000. We are covering the power for everybody. So you notice like some shows they charge you for power, everything.
I hate that.
Yeah, I hate that as a vendor. So I was like, man, as a vendor, I hated that. So I'm not gonna do that to my vendors. So it was a blanket $3,500 for power. They wanted to charge all of our vendors parking. So we ended up just covering that too.
I would rather like if I could pay $100 or $200 table cost instead of $100 table cost and $50 for power and $10 a day for parking, I would literally rather pay more and have it in one chunk up front than split it out.
Daniel, did you hear that? Charge them more next time. Yeah, but I
But
just
I
wanted to
would
make it,
never
and it's
pay.
our first show. Yeah, it's our first show. We want to make sure vendors are comfortable traveling
Yeah.
in, so we try to absorb as much of the cost as possible. So we absorbed all the parking costs. We are also paying for a vet to come out, which is shout out to Jordan. If you know Scott and Jordan in our Patreon, Jordan is a veterinarian, and I actually asked him to get his license transferred to Georgia, and he will be doing all of our vet certificates. That way, vendors don't have to go and get their own vet certificates. So we'll be covering that. Security
That's
is
also a
expensive.
huge
They
help.
apparently those guys charge $50 an hour to be there, sitting in the AC with a gun. And then we spent pretty much the rest on advertising, probably another $40,000 in advertising, 35, 40,000 depending.
Oh, Bob, I got $2 for you because Molly wants you to know she doesn't actually hate you and that I lied.
And she's actually has COVID.
Yeah. I didn't get a picture of a positive test, so
a lot of people got COVID from Daytona, Molly. So I'm not very surprised, but I also was spreading it onto everybody, trying to get this COVID wave back and getting a shutdown. But that's just
Bob's a super spreader. He doesn't even have COVID. He just has
I don't
a
even have
vial.
COVID. Yeah, I have no symptoms, and I'm just going out there spreading it.
Yeah, he just gets it in a syringe and starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't realize how much of a chunk the actual venue itself was. The goal is, I mean, I know that table costs doesn't come near to covering it. So ticket sales are a big part of it. I guess I never really realized how big of a deal ticket sales are. Would you consider doing VIP in the future?
No, I'll be honest with you, and the main reason is VIP at a national level show like Tinley makes sense, right? People trying to run in there and scalp animals and all this stuff. I've done I've done most of the Reptilian Nation shows. I've done a lot of Repticons. I've done show me shows. I've done a lot of shows, and Tinley is the only one so far that makes sense to have a VIP. The other shows, we're just sitting around. Vendors are just sitting around and going, man, we have to wake up an hour early for this crap. And there'll be 52 people walking around. They'll come in early anyways at 10 o'clock. There's no reason to charge someone extra to come in an extra hour early anymore. 10, 15 years ago, maybe when, there's
during
only one
COVID.
guy. Right.
Yeah.
COVID. And, when there's only how many guys producing certain genes. Yes, it makes sense. But I think now and today with the market the way it is, just let everyone in at 10 o'clock, let your vendors sleep in, get their setups perfect by 10 o'clock, open the door and let them in. Our show is not going to pay itself off with vendor money and VIP money. Some shows, I'll be honest, I've heard of shows before where before the door even opens, the promoters already in the positive. They already made money from tables.
Wow.
We're not that good. We're a new show. I just can't justify charging people $250 tables. So we're just going to have to depend on a lot of people coming through the door.
Awesome. And so I know that venue, if I remember correctly, they serve food like outside in the lobby. You guys can't have stuff like food trucks. Is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the venue has their own restaurants built in, and they have all of that. So they give us a list of what we can choose, which restaurants we want. So there will be a concessions area in the back of the show. So I'll set up tables where people can eat in the back. I set up an area for that. I absolutely hate going to shows and watching people sit on the floor outside the show. We've all seen this.
Yeah, I've sat on the floor.
Right, you're sitting on the
floor.
They
have tables at Daytona. I still sit on the floor.
They're trying to cram a hot dog down in the corner somewhere, and it's just not good. It's just a terrible look. It's gross. People are just walking by you, like right next to you while you're trying to eat. So we're setting up like an eating area, and I think this is actually going to help the vent. So with concessions being in the back, it's actually going to help the vendors towards the back, because now we don't have a bad spot in the show. Used to, if there's vendors all the way in the back, no one walks back there. But now with the concessions in the back, all the food's going to be back there. People will congregate back there. So now even the vendors in the back will have good foot traffic.
Okay. We had a question in the chat from Anna. She had asked about the GL insurance for the show and how you do it based on exotics. And then I think Daniel said that Mary handled that. Do you have any information on the insurance for the show?
So on the insurance, it was actually super complicated. We called 20 different companies, and so you have to have an event insurance. But because we have exotic animals, your insurance has to be up to $1 million per incident per day. So yes, that insurance is not cheap, and only so many insurance companies will write it. I actually thought, I was like, I'll just call State Farm. Yeah, they don't want to deal with reptiles.
I've got it in at State Farm, but
yeah, I was like, I called my agent. I've been with the same company for 20 years. I was like, I'll just call State Farm and they'll just hook it up. And he was like, no, we don't do exotic insurance. And I was like, well, it's not that exotic. It's ball pythons, man. And I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine doing insurance like if we had tigers and venomous snakes and stuff like that, because we're just doing like pretty, generic stuff. And we had to call 20 different companies before someone picked us up.
I wonder, because I know South Carolina, Columbia near us has a hot show. I guess I never really thought about how much the insurance costs because it's a Repticon. I didn't think it would be that much, but I guess Repticon is huge. They go all over. Right. Somebody did ask, is alcohol available from the venue? And I'm going to go ahead and say, or are you allowed to bring it in?
The venue will not be selling alcohol.
Okay.
I cannot answer the second question.
We did dinner at Daytona, and I bought a ton of crappy beer and a ton of seltzers and a ton of wine, and nobody drank. Well, everybody drank, but I bought probably 3 times what I needed, and it's all just been rolling around in the back of my car for a couple weeks, getting nice and hot and flat. So I figured I'd bring it in, and that would be my draw to my table. We
also bought many pizzas, right? I feel like there was a lot of pizzas left over.
We had like 3. Well, it wasn't too bad. I think we had like 3 or 4 left over. We sent one home with Mikey, and then the other 2 I stuck in. My sister got like an Airbnb, so she had a full-size fridge, and I put the rest of the pizzas in hers, so she threw them away for me.
So for lunch, I actually I messaged Mary. I said, hey, can you bring us out some lunch, some wings or something? There's 4 of us working the table. She orders like 150 wings and like fried pickles, 3 things of fries, and all this food. And I think we ate maybe like 35, 40 wings. And we end up hauling it all back to the room back to our condo that we booked out. And there was 20 people in my condo after the auction eating wings, leftover wings and fries. So that was kind of fun.
That's see, that's how I want Steven to start ordering food for us. I'll be like, hey, what'd you do for dinner? He's like, oh, I made myself something.
Dang, nice.
But I feel like Mary's pretty good with the spreads, because I've seen like on Instagram, and also like for your birthday and stuff, she had all kinds of like the desserts and everything.
Yeah.
She knows how to order.
Over cooking would be like her thing. Yeah, like every event we've had have been like, we have 2 refrigerators and it's always slapped full after every event. And that's all. I'll be eating leftovers for a week after every event. Yeah.
Nice. So Molly had asked if anybody's watched Chimp Crazy yet. That's the kind of the new Tiger King. The same people who did Tiger King put on Chimp Crazy. I know that before Tiger King, there were talks of, what was it, King Cobra being a
Cobra King,
documentary, but Cobra King.
To start off with
Crutchfield, right?
Crutchfield, yeah.
So did you hear about that at all when there was whisperings of it going on, or have you heard anything about it?
Everybody got contacted, by the way.
Gotcha.
So the very first episode they shot, they were actually heading to Tom Crutchfield's place, and they're like, hey, Crutchfield's our number 1 target, Nerds are our second target, we're gonna do bar check. We got Tyler Nolan. We got, like obviously the big names that are like real flashy. They wanted Dave Levinson for obvious reasons. And
did he say yes to that?
No, he declined. Dave's actually terrible on camera. Like he's good on podcasts, but I don't feel like filming him. And then
it doesn't seem his vibe to be on.
It wouldn't be genuine Dave. And they want like fake drama. Like they want you to like fake some of the drama to make it happen.
Yeah. But I don't believe that.
Yeah, when they went to
I think it was all real.
Yeah, well, Tiger King, I feel like it's all real. But when they went to film Tommy's place, as soon as they got there, what Tiger King's name, whatever his name,
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic, he actually shows up and with a clouded leopard. And he was like, "Hey, I'm dropping off this clouded leopard." And they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And they're looking at this dude that with a clouded leopard in the back of his van with 3 other men that are dressed, very cowboyish. And they're like, "Whoa, let's do tiger people. They're way crazier than reptile people." So we actually dodged a bullet with that one.
I think so. And I know they have that in the first episode of Tiger King. I remember seeing like the clouded leopard or whatever it was that you said. I remember them showing that on the video, so I want to rewatch that and see what they had said about it. I've only watched it, the one time that we were all like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, COVID.
And
COVID made us all watch it.
I haven't seen the chimp one yet, but I imagine it's gonna be pretty wild. So like you said, dodged a bullet because it definitely brought a lot of attention, probably not in the best way. Do you think it might be something now that this chimp one has come out? Do you think it might be something that they're gonna try and do again? I don't mean to change the subject. I'm just.
Oh no, you're fine. We can talk about whatever. Remember, I told you guys everything's wide open. I feel like our industry has so much industry drama, and we have so many. I would say great, so many great stories and great people. They're not gonna focus on those people. They're not gonna focus on Thai parks trying to help resurrect some of these species, conservation. They're like, no, screw that guy. We want the craziest story. So they're gonna focus on Ben Rennick's death, and what happened during the murder and all this. They're gonna want that because I'll be honest, right now, I'm very good friends with Dave. The amount of people who contacted him trying to get an interview about what happened with Ben and all of that, and he's trying to shut it all down. They're gonna want guys like Tyler Nolan, who free handles king cobras and stuff like that. They want, you guys know Real Tarzan. I say Black Tarzan, Real Tarzan. They want guys like that. Again, I've met the guy, charismatic guy, really well spoken, handsome, muscular, and the thing is, he's not a white guy with a ponytail. He's actually someone different from what the industry is used to. So someone that's good for TV, so they're going to focus on that, but they're not going to focus on like, oh, these guys are doing this for conservation. This place is called USARK and they're doing this for the rights. They don't really care about that. I think it's mostly for like sexy TV.
Yeah, I know Jay Brewer has one that I've seen come on my Roku advertisement.
It's terrible.
I haven't seen it. Maybe, yeah.
I've seen clips and it's not good.
So Steven likes to ball up a bunch of questions and make me read them because he is smarter and more well spoken than I am, to be honest. So he wants. Oh, sorry. He wants to know, what has been the most difficult aspect of getting the show together, and how would you address that for future shows?
Obviously, imagine if we had this show and there wasn't Reptilian Nation, like Reptilian Nation didn't exist. The most difficult aspect of all of this is juggling vendors and how to say no in a nice way to certain vendors that we know and like. But again, how many more ball python breeders can we add to a show before it becomes a ball python show? Crested geckos, 3D printed toys. How many booths of 3D printed toys can there be? And moving forward, I think it would definitely help now that we already have our established vendors list. At the end of the show, let's say, okay, so you're going to see this few things possibly happen. Either on Sunday, you guys might not see me at all. I'm hiding somewhere. Or on Sunday, I could be walking around going, do you guys want to vend again in next year? And if you do, I would like you to, I will circle your name, put a yes next to it. That way, in the next show, we already know which vendors we already have, and we just fill in the blanks. We might be missing 20 vendors or 10 more vendors, and that will help us out a lot. Yeah, it's very difficult because I'm friends with everybody too. I've been in the industry long enough where I have so many friends wanting tables, and for me to have to say no, we're full, that really sucks.
Yeah, I imagine it sucks because you feel bad, you feel guilty, and you want your friends to be able to do it. But I imagine sometimes you don't always get the most positive reactions. You don't have to go into detail, but have you had anyone like give you any backlash for having to say no?
Yeah, a few, because and I've seen it posted. I've seen people say, "Well, Bob's only gonna let his friends, his closest friends, vend. He only wants, to hook these guys up." And it's not anything like that. But obviously, I do want good vendors. Yes, I want some of my friends I've been vending with a long time. I want the guys I've been vending with a long time. I know their setups. I know they're good breeders. I know they're good at and it's not just so much you're a good breeder, you have to be a good vendor, and that's totally different things. Being a good breeder doesn't make you a good vendor, in my opinion. You can be a good breeder and sit on your ass the whole time when people are asking you questions because they're not serious about buying, and that's a terrible vendor in my opinion. There are some people coming in wanting information on how to keep a ball python, and as a vendor you should be able to provide that information and help them. That's how we grow the industry. And some vendors I just know won't do that. So I kind of hand selected good setups, good vendors, good breeders, friends of mine. And yes, it does sound terrible. I do want vendors with big names, so that they draw in a crowd and for people to travel in. Like someone like Canova, someone like JMG, Delbano. These guys, people are traveling in to see them because you don't get a chance to see these guys at every show. You only get to see Justin in Tinley. You only get
I think it's
see
huge
JMG
that Justin's coming.
Yeah, so we do have to pick and choose, and it sucks. And I did have some people a little disgruntled about that, and it's it's part of the business, unfortunately now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I get it because you want to think that you're doing it like people who get told no, you want to think that you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to get in, but everyone thinks their own stuff is really good. And if you're worried about Bob only letting his friends in, we're vending the table, and he's told us so many times that we're not his friend. Moving on.
I did not say that to you guys. I would never say that to Steven.
So so Steven's next question says, when did you first realize Courtney was a bully? Ha ha ha. Very funny.
Daytona 2022. Next question.
For breeders just getting into vending shows, what should they expect in a vending experience?
So if it's my show, I'll tell you right now, if this is your first show vending and you're vending Southeast Reptile Expo, depending on what you're vending, expect to see a lot of people, expect to talk to a lot of people, a lot of breeders. But if you don't do really well in sales, don't be discouraged, because you are also vending against some of the best breeders around the country. Yes. This is your first time vending, and you have to be next to freaking Justin Kabilka selling snakes, and you have to be next to Josh Rangoon, and you got literally the best breeders around the country surrounding you. You will have as many chances as we can possibly make for you to sell a snake. We're going to try to get as many people through the door to talk to you as possible. It's up to you to sell to them, but do not be discouraged. And I'll tell you this reason. My first Daytona was a bust. My first Daytona, I was, I was just lucky to get tables, and I didn't make any money. But I wasn't really mad about it. I've done so well at Repticons. I was crushing Repticons. I would go there and do $12,000-$15,000. And I was thinking, man, I'm going to go to Daytona and crush it. But then I didn't make any sales. But the good thing is, I was there, rubbing elbows with the best of the best, making connections, social networking, and doing, talking to these breeders. And now I'm one of them. I'm one of the breeders. I'm one of the vendors. But again,
don't get too big of a head.
Right.
Just kidding. But no, you're right. You're 100% right. Like, I remember, so I think the very first show we vended, your company was there, but I think it was just like Ryan. I don't know that you were actually there.
You did the Grove Town Show Me show. Mm-hmm.
It was
that's like the only time I've ever split the company up too, and it's your first time vending. Geez.
Thanks, Amanda. I hope Amanda's going to be at the show. So she's in the Charleston area, so it's a bit of a haul for her, but
it's not okay. I said within 900 miles, you should try to make
it. There you go. So that was the first show we had vended, and I think you and maybe Dreamweaver were probably the bigger names there at the time. I think Steve's Morphs as well, but then we only vended local shows, and a lot of those bigger names kind of dropped the Repticons and the show me's that we were doing. So with like Steven's YouTube presence and everything, and all of our branding, we were one of the better looking booths most everywhere we went, and we were kind of killing it whenever we did a show. We were only doing like 2 a year, 3 maybe. But we always did so well. And then we did Reptilian Nation last year, and we had you there, Corey DeLong was there, Best Dressed Balls was there, Hookers. There were, I can't even think of how many people. What? Morph Jungle. Oh yeah, that's right. Morph Jungle was there. Like, people came from all over, and it was awesome. It was great. But it was the first time, and we did great. We did very well. I'm not complaining at all. It was just the first show that people would come to our table and like be like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna look around." And I mean, obviously, you've got some people that like aren't gonna buy anything, but it was the first time we had really had people that we were like, "Oh, that one's in the bag," that would walk around and just not come back. And every other time they'd come back because we had, we were so personable, and we'd get them talking, and they'd want to come back to buy that animal, even if it wasn't the like lowest price or the coolest stuff. But when you're vending with all these other really, really like top notch folks, you're not the you're the little fish in the pond, and it is a lot harder, but it's still a great experience.
Yeah, and it takes time and experience. And again, being at the same shows multiple times, like even Tinley, at my first Tinley, I was the new guy, especially going north, and no one knew. Like, some people knew me, but when I went up there, I was like way out of my elements. It took a few times before our sales really started boosting up. I was lucky that my third time in Tinley, it's already been COVID, so sales were booming. But yeah, it takes time to get that experience in, and to have people recognize your brand in a new area. Now these people are like, all right, these people are there all the time. I've seen their banner before. I've seen their logo. I can trust them, and I can buy from them. But yeah, it's going to be a good experience overall, even for new vendors, new breeders, just to be out there, get your logo out there, get your brand out there, and meet people and get some experience vending and selling.
So will you be behind your table at the show, or are you going to be trying to like run things?
I will try my best if they actually need my help to be behind my table. Like if there's like a uber genetic question. But no, I also ordered walkie-talkies so I can.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can walkie back and forth. But I will think I'll be most likely walking around, making sure everything's good. If there's any issues with the venue or front desk or anything, but I'll try my best to be behind. Again, even in Daytona, I'm rarely behind my table, so I'll try my best to be
Okay.
present.
Now, did you get the Paw Patrol walkie-talkies or the Spider-Man?
Which one did we get? Amazon Thor's walkie-talkie. Yeah, I wanted Thor's walkie-talkie.
Nice.
Paw
Is
Patrol.
it shaped?
Yeah, it's shaped like a hammer.
Yeah, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So speaking of like an uber genetic question, do you have anything that like you're gonna debut at SCRE?
Yeah,
Cool
we're having
combos?
a lot of clutches hatch right now, and I'm like, God, these might be ready. We had some clutches hatch last week that I really want to show off. So if they shed and I can get 2 or 3 meals in them, anytime like for Daytona, we rush to get a clutch ready. So, and the way to do that is I actually tell my guy Robert, my rodent guy Robert, hey, bring rodents over to me on Monday, and then again on Thursday, and then again on Monday, so we can get 3 meals in them in 2 weeks. And that usually gets them going, get them ready, because you don't want to bring an animal to a show that's not ready, and then if it doesn't sell, you take it home, and then it's not going to eat, or it won't eat for your customer. So a lot of times, if depending on the animal, how it looks, if it's healthy weight and eating 3 times, we'll try to get them. But yeah, we're gonna bring some really cool stuff out there. Justin's gonna bring some really amazing stuff. I've seen what he's been hatching the last month, kind of gauging what he'll be bringing out there. I talked to Josh. He's gonna bring some ridiculous puzzle stuff that he's been hatching, and a lot of people are like stocking back inventory for like specifically for this show in Dallas and Charlotte. So you're gonna have some really, really good stuff out there.
Did you see just talking about getting them established fast? Did you see the picture going around of the eggs, the cut eggs in the?
I did. I actually talked to that guy. He said he's been doing that for years. And I
Really?
was like, yeah, definitely shouldn't do that, dude. He was like, well, I'm showing the public, what the process is. And I was like,
Show them
the
a
public
picture.
doesn't care about
Yeah.
babies hatching out of the egg. I've seen this done in Daytona years ago with corn snakes,
Mhm.
turtles, and stuff like that. I just don't feel like the public really needs to know about any of that process, like how, babies crawling out of the egg. They can watch it on YouTube. Honestly, you can just have it a live cam on YouTube or something like that. You're risking so much. I always tell people when you're incubating eggs, the less time you open it, the more
Mhm.
times you open it, the more problems you'll have. I
Mhm.
I peek, boom, okay, it hasn't crawled out of the egg. Next, you keep opening. Now you got a fruit fly hit in there. You
Mhm.
got, every breeder's had that happen to them before they learn is fruit flies get in there and lay eggs inside your eggs that you cut. And now you
I
got maggots.
stopped. I don't cut eggs anymore. We had that happen one time, and I won't cut them. If Steven really wants to, we will. But like, I just let him pip because that was the worst.
And I've had to talk so many breeders into do not cut early. Why are you cutting on 52? You can't ID them
Mhm.
anyways. What are you going to do? Try to pop them in the egg? Like it doesn't change anything. And I've done it
Signal.
before when I was, new in the hobby. I would just slice them open and be like, let me see what I got. Who cares?
Mhm.
You'll find out in a week. You'll literally find out in a week. And if you don't, and only good can happen by waiting. If you cut early, now you got maggots coming out. Now you're stressing, you're flushing into the water, you got all these
Mhm.
issues. So the longer you wait, the better. The less times you look at it, the better, in my opinion. The more you look at it, the more you're gonna want to cut it. That's the problem.
Yeah. We actually have a second smaller incubator, and once they start pipping or if we cut, we move them from the big incubator into the smaller incubator so that we're not opening and closing that door as much, taking them out once they crawl out of the eggs.
Right.
Um, but as a show promoter, if you saw something like eggs on the table, do you think you would address it? Do you think you would just be like, "Ugh,
Oh,
I don't like
it's got
that"?
to get removed because it's got to get taken off the table. It's a bad look. I don't want new breeders that are coming into the industry, like let's say I think Brianna's the coming to the show. She'll come to her first big show, see a breeder do that, and then when she does her show, her local show, she's gonna do that, and then she's like, well, they did it was fine, and she's
Mhm.
gonna kill her whole clutch of eggs because she don't know what she's doing, it's her first clutch or whatever. And you cut it, man, when I cut a clutch of eggs, because those they pipped and I cut them, whatever, slide them right back in the incubator within, in less than 2 minutes. I don't want them to be exposed in air for too long, too
Mhm.
cold. To take them and travel with them and put them on the table for 8 hours
Crazy to
or
me.
whatever, it's mind blowing to me. It's put that much risk because those animals are not strong. They're literally still trying to absorb yolk.
Mhm.
Their whole point, like their whole existence right there is just not die.
Mhm.
And you're exposing them to light, to kids banging on the thing, to kids with boogers all over and wiping their nasty fingers on it. And it's just like, why go through that much risk to educate the public when they can just literally watch a YouTube video?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, so just because it's on the list, it's kind of off topic, but it's Steven's last crumpled up question. Do you think the conflict with Reptilian Nation has overall helped or hurt the show? I know we kind of talked
Um,
about that at the beginning, but
so some people say that drama is good for publicity.
yeah,
In my
no such thing
opinion,
as bad publicity.
yeah, some people say that. I don't think it is. It's caused a lot of stress as far as just first of all, it's stressful in the relationship between me and Ryan, right? Obviously, that relationship went really far south. There are vendors now or breeders now picking sides and going, well, Bob's in the wrong or Ryan's in the wrong, and that's not what we wanted. I want a smooth sailing show. When I booked it, I'm like, man, this is gonna be smooth sailing. Vendors gonna love this shit, all this and this, and this is just like throwing a wrench in there. Um, and obviously it's stressful having another show. Vendors have already voiced their opinion about it. Oh, the
Mhm.
turnout's gonna suck and all this. I don't think that's going to be that much of a case. I think we'll both do well. Atlanta is a huge city. if I feel like if Repticon can bring in 3,000 people in a city population of like 500,000 people, Atlanta Metro is 6 million people. You
It's a
know,
big city.
it's Atlanta Metro is one of the largest metros in the United States, and especially Southeast. You know, that's why I wanted Atlanta to do well, and I wanted to show in Atlanta. It's a huge city, it's a huge area. If you're combining all of Metro Atlanta, you know, the city of Atlanta, the heart of Atlanta itself, it's already heavily populated, but Metro Atlanta, which is where I live south of Atlanta, 6 million people. So to tell me, oh, both the shows are going to suck because, you know, there's two shows, you know, doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So I feel like both shows will do well. I feel like we should do well, but the drama, I hate it. I hate the fact that we even have to compete with anybody. I hate the fact that it has to ruin relationships between breeders and, you know, or whatever else.
And it's straight skibbity toilet, for real, for real.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that correctly? Let me know in chat.
Something around those lines.
I asked my 9-year-old what skibbity toilet meant, and he's like, it's a video. And I'm like, well, what does it mean? He's like, it doesn't mean anything. So I have no
idea.
Yeah. So I think Atlanta is such a great city for it. I think like Tinley, I think Chicago's a great city. Then there's a lot of smaller cities with the big shows that I'm kind of like, I don't know anything about them. But Atlanta, I have traveled a lot for work throughout the years, and I've been to a lot of airports. And I know a lot of people don't like the Atlanta airport, but as somebody who travels a lot, the Atlanta airport is one of the best airports that I go to. It's a great place to fly into. It's extremely accessible, and it's like fast-paced, move them out.
It's efficient because so many people go through there.
Yeah. Right. But then you've got like Charlotte, which is a nightmare. It's terrible. Well, actually, no, we want people to go to Charlotte. So ignore me. But like, I hate the Charlotte airport. But so like Atlanta is such a good place. And it's one of the only cities, in my opinion, that feels like everybody knows Atlanta drivers are batshit crazy, but the traffic infrastructure that Atlanta has feels like it was built to have a lot of people. If you go to like Seattle or DC, the roads are tiny and there's people parked on either side of the road. There's not wide enough roads. There's not things like bypasses or like stoplights to get on and off the interstate. It's atrocious other places. So as much as Atlanta traffic is terrible, it's at least built to handle it. And as big as the Atlanta airport is, it is a pretty efficient airport. It is. I would rather drive a little farther to go to Atlanta than some of the other airports. So,
I do feel bad for some people like from small towns, and then they have to go to the Atlanta airport, and I have to tell them, hey, when you get on the train, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah. when you get through security, hop on the train, wait 6 stops, and then once you get to F, that's you know. And they're like, wait, there's a train?
Yeah. And here's my recommendation for anyone traveling through the Atlanta airport. If you have like a layover in Atlanta that is tight and you've got to go from like D to A, or you know, like a big jump, and you think you can walk it or run it faster, you are wrong. That train is quick and it will get you. It takes almost exactly 1 minute per stop, and it takes a lot longer to walk even if you're using the walkways. So
Super walker.
Yep, use the train. It is actually pretty dope. And it's moving. There's a new one every like minute or two, and when it's going from stop to stop, like I've timed it before as I've been late for a train. It literally takes 1 minute per letter. Shout out Atlanta Airport. They also have massages at the Atlanta Airport. I do not recommend those.
And they have like 50 restaurants in the airport, so that's super nice.
Yeah, they've got a Chipotle. And they have like 4 Bruegger's bagels. But aside from that, I think Atlanta is a really good city to have something like this. I'm saying that, 1, because I'm close by, and 2, because it genuinely is. A lot of people who come to shows are pet owners. They are public. They are not necessarily super entwined with like what goes on social media or what goes on in the industry. So having a big city with a lot of people that could just get interested, come in through the door, even if they're not buying an animal, maybe they follow you on Instagram, maybe they buy from you later on. I find that vending shows closer to like where we live tends to lead to more sales down the road. Like maybe like, oh, my daughter's birthday is in a couple months and we want to buy a snake. Oh, you live right up the street. We'll buy from you. There's more to it than just what you make at the actual show.
For sure. Yeah. I used to make so much money after shows in Atlanta. That's why that's like one of the main reasons I want a big market here and a big show here is because after the show, and everyone knows I live 30 minutes away from the venue. I give my card. I'm like, I live 30 minutes away. If you have any questions, call me. I get so many sales afterwards when they're like, hey, so you live nearby. Could we pick your brain? And I'll help them get their setup and everything like that. But yeah, did you know that Daytona, or I guess the National Breeders Expo, which used to be in Orlando, was originally going to be in Atlanta. Wayne actually called me and asked me if I was advertising my show at his show, and I'm like, I would love to. So we ended up doing signs and stickers and stuff like that. But he was originally going to pick Atlanta because of the population density, but Atlanta doesn't allow corn snakes. And back in the 90s, or back in 1989, when the first his first expo was the year I was born, corn snakes were the majority of the market. Colubrids was the majority of the market. And ball pythons, no one cared for ball pythons. It was corn snakes, king snakes, milk snakes. And Georgia doesn't allow native non-venomous reptile sales. So they actually moved it to Orlando because of that.
Yeah. And I heard Daytona, the show that's there now, it's like grandfathered into some laws. Is that right? Where they might not. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the venue doesn't want any more animal related shows at that venue. So
that venue specifically.
Yeah, okay. But Wayne has been with them for like 20 years, so they're like, cool. But they're thinking in their head, well, Wayne's old, he should quit soon. We'll just let it ride until he stops. And jokes on them, he's just now hitting his midlife crisis. He bought a Segway. So he's got another 40 years in him.
Yeah, nice. I thought of a question and it just slipped my mind. So, as an Atlanta resident, any recommendations for people coming in on places to eat, visit, entertainment outside of the show?
I think Atlanta, and I don't want to keep hyping this up, I think Atlanta is one of the best destination shows because I understand Daytona, right? The draw is it's at the beach and it's an old time show. It's been 35 years and it's a beach. But let's be honest, Daytona is kind of gross. Yeah, come on.
It is. I mean, it's pretty mid, but
still Daytona, right? So people travel in. It's the beach. Tinley is only Tinley because it's Tinley. It's the name, the draw, and everything. But Atlanta is going to be a good destination show down the road if we can get this thing built up. It's one of the best aquariums in the country. The aquarium's amazing. It's one of the best zoos in the country. Their reptile department at the zoo is amazing. The Coke factory is awesome. I've been to the Coke factory 3 times. The botanical gardens, they have a huge and we have a huge plant following around here. I posted into a plant group today and got a bunch of responses. And Atlanta has awesome Asian food. It's one of the reasons I even live here. The amount of Korean barbecue and all you can eat sushi bars and just really good food. If you are into diverse food, this is for you. The amount of Caribbean food and all of that. So if you're Josh, stay in Kansas because really you can only eat at so many places here. But if you are an adventurous foodie, Atlanta is like the perfect place. I mean,
so where can Steven get a plain hamburger?
I'm not traveling to Atlanta to eat
Wendy's, it's fine.
Vortex, right? Is that place called the Vortex? The Vortex. People go there for like burgers and hot dogs.
I thought that was the donuts.
I'll be honest. If I drive to Atlanta, if I have to drive my butt to Atlanta, I'm eating either Korean food, Chinese food, Vietnamese food, Japanese food, Jamaican food. I'm not eating a burger.
Steven is so picky. that like it gets embarrassing in some occasions where he like refuses to eat other people's cooking. And I think Mary had cooked first one night, and I was like, oh, don't embarrass me, Steven. And he loved it. And he's like,
Which one?
she
Which
made
night
pho,
was
right?
that? Oh yeah, he made noodles. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. That yeah, he learned he liked something. But
You
it
gotta
sounds like
try
the
it. Sometimes
vortex is
it's tough, like,
yeah.
people are, like, so used to what they eat, and, you gotta try it, and, Josh, he came over here, and, my mom made seafood soup, and he was like, "What? Why would you do that with seafood?" And he ate it, and he was like, "Holy, this is," and I
I'll
took
eat
him out
some
for his
yeah.
first sushi. He had a mango for the first time the other day. That was a new experience for him.
Is he a toddler?
Uh, when he saw me cut this mango open, so I had everybody at my house. Addie was there. Everybody was over here, and I'm
Was
cutting
I
these
there?
mangoes. You there? You were not there. I had everybody
I
but you.
thought everybody
Um,
was there.
but
I didn't realize I was
I said
such a
all of my
nobody.
friends.
All
All of
right.
my friends were there except for Steven. Um,
Oh,
no.
send him back, Steven. Send him back.
But yeah, no. So I was cutting up these mangoes for everyone to eat, and Josh was like, "What is that?" And I said,
He didn't even know what it
and I
was.
was looking around like, do I have anything weird that he's like pointing at? And he's like, "No, what's that? The yellow thing." And I was like, "This mango?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is that?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" And his daughter was with him, and she was like, "It's a mango." And I was like, "Yeah, even she knows." But she's never had one before. She's seen it
It's
in
Kansas,
movies.
the food. She's seen it in movies. She saw it on VeggieTales.
Yeah, I'm like, what? So yeah, they tried their first mango at my house. That was new. And dragon fruit, we did dragon fruit right after. Yeah,
Yeah. Dragon fruit at least looks a little more exotic.
yeah.
Um, did you uh start his love for crab ragoons?
Um,
Ring-
I
Sorry.
think so. Yeah, I took him to, I think it's called BFF. So it was like an Asian restaurant in Arlington, and I was like, "Hey, this is kind of decent Asian food." And he goes in there and he's like, "Yeah, I want to try some Asian food." Boom, crab rangoons. And I was
Nice.
like, I think that's what Chinese people make because they think this is what white people like. And
So I see all of the videos and pictures, and I think I was somewhere and I was like, maybe I've just never had good ones. I don't remember them being very good to me. It's like cream cheese and crab. I
yeah,
mean, it's not bad, but I just didn't. I was like, oh, they've got to be better than I remember. So I ordered them somewhere recently, and I was like, nope, this is still cream cheese and
yeah,
crab.
it's cream cheese, imitation crab, and like sometimes onions, and
And
it's
it like
just
hurts
fried in
my
a
mouth.
wonton.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
like,
hell yeah. So I saw a question in the chat. Do you have a all you can eat sushi place you recommend?
oh,
There's
Mary was like, "Ooh, I got this."
Total list. There's
Yeah,
Kira Kira. They do all you can eat.
Kira's not. Oh yeah, Kira is.
Kira Kira is that's conveyor belt. There's Nori Nori, which is all
Nori
you
Never
can
Nori
done
is
eat.
that
all you can eat.
before.
There's omakase at Trory,
Ooh,
$75.
Chirori is a 13 course omakase for $75 a person.
You
Amazing.
have to reservations for that?
Yeah, you have to call them ahead of time. It is a chef that makes like one piece at a time and feeds you one piece at a time. And it's an amazing, is it 13 course or 11 course? One of those. And it's really good. Omakase. Me and Mary go there for our anniversary. We went there one year for our anniversary.
Nori Nori, and then Igu is good.
Igu. Ooh,
like
Igu is one of my favorite places. If you want all you can eat Korean barbecue and sushi all in one, $39.99 a person for dinner. And that place is awesome. It's called Egu, EGYU.
I'm not
There's
gonna tell you how I tried to spell that.
a
I'll make a list.
I'll make a list. I'll type up a oh, you
Put
know
it
what? I'm
on
gonna
the
type up a list.
SERE website.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the website. Places we recommend. And if you want to try more adventurous things, I will make another list for that. Like some dim sum spots if you want chicken feet
Nice.
and things like
Love
that. Yeah, let's get the sushi guy for. Ooh, so
nice.
last year for my birthday, we had a chef come out to do sushi at our house, and that was bomb. But yeah, getting that guy for the after party for like 50 people, that might we gonna need some more attendees.
It might be a little pricier.
He's trying to feed 50 people. You seen this guy cut up fish for like 50 people? Holy shit!
Nice. No, that's cool. I've never been. So again, we live in a much smaller area. And Steven isn't as adventurous of an eater. So when we go out, like when we travel places, we tend to eat at like good food, but it tends to be just American food. So I've never had all you can eat sushi. I've never had like the conveyor belt style or anything like that. So I've
You
had
know what? You guys need to
Vegas
visit
sushi.
me for like a dinner day or like an overnight stay, so where we can actually go to Atlanta and like try food for the day and then come back.
I've been waiting all my life for an invitation, but
Yeah.
now you're on the hook for it publicly.
Yeah.
I like Atlanta a lot. Steven's favorite place is a karaoke bar called the Dark Horse, which he talks about every time. I brought him for his birthday one year. I mean, because he wanted to go, not that I introduced it to him, but it's like a live band rather than just karaoke music. So you feel like the lead singer of a band. Super cool. But personally, as somebody who's now 30, I don't want to wait in line to sign up, and I don't want to stand late at night. I want a place where I can sit down. So I'm old and boring, and we haven't been there in quite a while. So if anyone wants to take Steven to the Dark Horse, hit him up. He really wants to go. Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel will take you. He's volunteering.
Nice. I thought
And then
people
we'll go eat Korean barbecue instead.
Oh, you got chicken feet haters in the comments.
No, okay. So chicken feet. I'll tell you a funny chicken feet story. It'll take 2 minutes.
I've got chicken feet stories as well. Go for it.
Oh, that's right. You are Chicken Farm affiliates.
I worked.
So
yeah.
Back in the day, I don't remember what year, when chicken feet prices went through the roof, and actually the chicken feet cost more than the rest of the chicken at one point. And my parents were so anal about us keeping the chickens dry, because if they get wet,
yes, because then they get the ammonia burns on their feet. Yes,
exactly. So there's another farmer that knows what we're talking about. Yeah, if you ruin the chicken's feet, you basically just lost half your money.
We were huge on like stir fans, dry litter, all kinds of like PLT, all sorts of different ammonia treatments, because you get even in the last like couple of years, chicken feet are worth as much as like chicken breast. Like when you're selling them, they're worth more than any of the dark meat. So chicken feet, we have a huge market for it in the US to export it to other countries, and as well as like a market here. But because China is another big producer of chicken, they have a lot of trouble with burns on the feet. So we export a lot of chicken feet. It's huge. People pay a lot of money for chicken feet. And I know that sounds a little silly and a little crazy, but it is like the money maker. And if you have those burn marks on them, it's dog food.
Yeah,
so
they don't want them. I'm not gonna try to suck on some chicken toes with burn marks, man. I want perfect chicken toes.
Yeah, they got to be good. And they classify it as different ones. Like if they've got the burn mark that almost looks like you can't tell, and then it's also by size. Anyway, I could talk about it all the time. Nicole's not sure. She's gonna try something. She's not sure what she's gonna try.
I think you can do it if it was a small baby bird. It was like a quail. I think I start everybody off on quail, then we move into chickens and then ducks.
I don't like things that are too crunchy. I don't like I don't like eating crunchy food. How crunchy are they?
Okay, so you incubate them a little bit less so that the bone and beak aren't fully developed yet. So we'll gauge it for you. We'll
you know what it is from. Do you eat the whole thing, right?
Or yeah, so you boil, especially the quail, the eggs are like this big, and you kind of just pop them in. They're like little popcorn chicken nuggies.
Do you peel them?
Yeah. You peel.
Okay. I always thought you ate the shell, and for me, the part that upset me wasn't necessarily the bird; it was the shell. I was like, "Ew, you eat the shell?"
Yeah, no, you peel it, and Daniel ate it when he was over here. Wasn't bad. Chris and Addie tried it, not bad.
Yeah,
I think you just got to get over the mental part of, oh, this is a baby bird.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that bothers me. I thought you ate the shell. And now I feel stupid. I remember, I don't think I'm super adventurous with food. It's at least not cooking it, but awesome. It sounds like there's a lot of fun places in Atlanta. I noticed no strip clubs were mentioned. That's a bummer. I thought Atlanta had some good ones, but I guess not.
Claremont. Yeah, you're gonna go Claremont or Magic City, I guess. mean, but I'll come up with a list also for those.
TikTok has convinced me that Atlanta's got good strip clubs.
What's that candy shop? The candy shop? Is that 2 Chainz new shop?
I don't know.
2 Chainz just opened a new strip club here. I think it's called the Candy Shop.
If 2 Chainz is watching this, tell him to.
2 Chainz, if you're watching, hit me up. We
Yeah,
DM'd you
comment below.
about the show. Yeah, we DM'd you about the show if you want to. I commented on the thing.
If
Ti,
anyone's
if you're
from the Utah
watching,
Jazz.
I DM'd you too. Colin Sexton, if you're watching, you bought a snake
Come
from
back.
Courtney last year. Come back to the show.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I told you that they bought the snake and then they were like, so how do I bring it on the plane? And I'm like, you don't. There's a whole movie about it. Can't do that. And they were like, oh, well, how do I bring it back to Utah? And I'm like, why would you do that? Who are you? What are you doing? And I had no idea who he was. Super nice.
For everyone that doesn't know, Colin Sexton is the starting point guard for the Utah Jazz, but he does live in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta.
Yep. So we gave him his money back, and we were like, oh, just let us know.
I've been like, no, I know how much.
Well, yeah, I didn't. I was like, oh, here's your, because yeah, and his girlfriend was, or the woman he was with, I don't know if they were married, but I was like, if you want to go ahead and like put the money down, like I don't want you to like find something else somewhere and then come back here and like it's like a non-refundable deposit or whatever. And she was like, it's fine. He's fine. And I was like, oh, and again, I still had no idea who he was. So but yeah, we did give them their money back. We didn't keep it.
He was actually in front of my table, like holding a snake for like 15 minutes. And and then I walked over to my buddy that's showing him the snake. I was like, hey man, that's Colin Sexton. He's like, why is Colin Sexton at the show? And I was like, no, that's clearly Colin Sexton. And I asked him, hey man, what's your name? He goes, Colin. I'm like, how many black dudes you know named Colin? And I was like, come on. And I was like, you play for Utah? And he goes, yeah. How do you even know? I was like, man, come on. If you watch, like, but again, he's 6'1", so you don't really think NBA, but yeah.
Well, I think I didn't know who he was until I was like, oh yeah, we're on Instagram. We'll follow you. And they were like, oh, here's how we.
Yeah,
it's
here's
getting
my
more and more
Instagram with
embarrassing
50 million
remembering the story. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time. Atlanta is a huge city for like celebrities. There's so many people who live in Atlanta.
I messaged so many of them. No, so I have Mary message them because they're not gonna open my DMs. It's creepy. But if they saw Mary, they're like, oh, maybe.
How many responded, Mary?
So far, as of right now, 0.
Oh.
We were hoping they'd be like, oh, some random Asian girls in my DMs, and then they end up like, would you like to come to the Southeast Reptile?
Hey, I told Mary if the last week of the show and if we haven't sold many online tickets, I'm gonna make a what's that app called again? A Tinder profile for her. And
what's that app again?
Dude. I'm gonna swipe every single dude and I'll be like, hey, I'll meet you at the Southeast Reptile Expo at 10 o'clock.
Use code Leviathan for 10% off.
Yeah, I'll be in the concessions area.
Yeah. Steven, what's the dating one you have on your phone?
A Grinder, something like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. So if you want to use his, he can help too.
That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
I'll make one of those. Funny. I'll just tell every one of them to meet me in the back. I'll be like, I'll be in the back concessions area with the hot dogs.
Yeah, the hot dogs. So I was going to ask, because I know they have restaurants in there. A lot of vendors or a lot of shows have been doing like the candy sales and stuff like that. Is there any do they give you any trouble about people like selling food? Do you have any issue with that?
We're not supposed to be selling any food that requires a permit. But there will be, I think we have one vendor with freeze-dried candies. We have one with beef jerky. I don't think they're gonna have any issues with those at all.
Okay, I was just curious about the yeah. I make I make bread, and my mom was like, "Oh, you should make that," because she crochets snakes. She's like, "You should sell that at one of your reptile shows." And I was like, can you imagine baking a bunch of loaves of bread and having to take them home when nobody buys them?
Oh, that would be depressing. Yeah. But the loaf of bread you made to us was really good.
Oh, thank you. Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're not moving, but I'm like, maybe she's doing that on purpose to trick me.
Oh, Daniel, I'll bring you. Thanks, babe. Nope, still frozen.
Nope. And now you move to
Well,
the other side. Oh, you're back. Yep.
oof. Well, this is embarrassing. I did want to ask about so Cameron from Rodents and Royals. He works. The camera died. That's what it was. So he
Embarrassing.
works a couple hours for us a week, and he recently sent you something in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he packed it all up in a snake box and didn't give you a heads up, and you thought
Yes.
you had a very dead snake.
Because I had other shipments go in that day. I had 2 other snakes get shipped into me that day, and I had already unpacked them, got them set up and everything. And I was eating dinner, and Ryan comes in and is like, "Hey, man, this package has been sitting in front of the garage." And I was like, "Since when?" And he's like, "The box is hot." And I'm like, "Oh
Oh
my
no.
God." And I didn't even look at the box to see like who it's from. And I'm like, "Shit, there's a dead snake in there. I guarantee it has been sitting outside for like 5 hours." And I was like, "Why would they put 2 snakes at my front door and one at the garage? It just doesn't make any sense." And I opened the box and it said, "Mr. Bob," you know how Cameron is. He
Yeah.
goes, "Mr.
Yeah.
Bob, thank you, blah 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 blah, and I hope you enjoyed the packaging." And I was like, "Cameron, I'm gonna punch you so bad."
Yeah, he told us about that, and he thought that was pretty fun. He was really proud of that. I think he made you some origami.
It was a frilled dragon, a very well I mean that thing took I don't know how many folds it takes, but a very, very cool piece, a frilled dragon. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I should have asked for like a picture because I hadn't seen it. But yeah, he was excited to send that to you, and he thought it was pretty funny when you got it. Um, he's awesome. He's been really great for us, and we really appreciate having him. And he
Does he do
does
your
the
rodents?
Yeah, well, yeah, so he comes over on like Fridays, and we usually do like all of like he'll do any animals that have like moved out or like shipped or anything like that. He'll clean out empty tubs and empty like egg boxes. Or we'll have him help us with like total clean outs or rat clean outs, but we're usually out there with him at the same time. Just one of us is out there with him and the other is inside. For us, it keeps us like on track, like before then it would be like, well, I'll get to it tomorrow and push it off, and it would be like all over the place. Now, no matter what, there is one day a week that we are like doing full clean outs and doing all
Yeah.
of these things.
Oh, let me ask you this. This is one of the struggles, I guess, as a show and with you guys having a podcast. It's like choosing your sponsors, right? Again, shout out to our sponsor is Morph Market. But
Who's
like
that?
we're having Morph Market's a new company. They sell snakes and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, it's they're sponsoring everything. Just try to get their name out there. But
Yeah, they picked a
trying
good
to
show.
trying to weed through, right? Because we're having multiple companies reach out, want to sponsor the show. But at what point, when you have so many sponsors, where really, what's the point of sponsoring the show if there's 50 sponsors, right? So how do you pick and choose who to have sponsor your show? Because I have Reptiles Express, which is nearby. It's a local company, but then I also have
Oh, okay.
Redline. Then I also have Debbie, who I love. So I have 3 shipping companies that I love. I can't have one sponsor the show and not, and the show
And not all
favoritism.
of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the tough part, right?
I think it is tough. I know for us, we wanted one sponsor, maybe down the line too. And I think Steven specifically wanted RGI because he really, we've met Ben and Sean, and really great people, really intelligent people, and a good brand that we, were like happy with. We weren't worried that they would like drop a slur on a podcast, like we weren't worried about, and they aren't worried about that with us. So like we were comfortable with them as a sponsor for the YouTube channel. And then Steven reached out, I think specifically to Robin from Redline with his like mini series studies working on that you are also featured in. Thank you so much. And he asked Robin specifically to sponsor that. And so we don't like the idea of a ton of sponsors where you spend a quarter of your episode or a quarter of your show shouting them out. I know it works very well for a lot of people, and they're able to get those sponsors to sponsor trips for them and things of that nature, and cover stuff like that. But I feel like as if I was to sponsor something, I would feel like the more sponsors on the list, the less valuable it gets, if that
100,
makes sense.
100%. So that's why we
Yeah.
had Morph Market as our sole sponsor. And I told him, you're going to get more visibility this way. You're going to be on all the advertising material. However, because I only have one sponsor, I need a lot of money. But
I think you should too.
Yeah, moving forward, we have a lot of companies reaching out. Hey, we want to sponsor your show if it becomes a major thing. And again, I understand where they're coming from. Like, let's say I own a company and I get to be the first sponsor to be on a show that could become a big thing. They're gonna hold that place. And if they're, let's say it's Redline, let's say it's a shipping company, then they know I won't have another shipping company come in and take that spot.
Yeah.
But again, my issue is that I'm friends with too many people. I'm friends with Redline. I'm friends with Reptiles Express. I'm friends with Debbie. Now and then having to choose between RGI and Charlie, I'm friends with both of them. So that makes it very difficult. And I've seen companies where they're like, "Hey, these are our sponsors," and they list literally 50 sponsors. Where at that point, no one's really a companies, right? It's like 32 ball python companies sponsoring it. So I feel like that is going to be one of our challenges moving forward is how to choose our sponsor again. And like you guys chose certain companies because it represents the company well, and it's there. You guarantee that company won't go out and drop a slur or something ridiculous and represent your company. So yeah, I think that's going to be one of the challenges moving forward, especially for me, and picking and choosing, just like picking and choosing vendors, I believe.
I agree, because like Charlie is great. We love Charlie. He's awesome. And we really like Robin. Before Redline came on the market, we used Ship Your Reptiles, and we never had any issues with them. They were very nice. We do use, I don't know if you use a shipping like company, or if it works just as well for you to use your own account. But for us, as few shipments as we do, and even if it costs us the same amount to ship ourselves, the fact that if I have a delayed package and all I have to do is message Redline and they are like, okay, well, it's at this place, it's been there since this time, and it's because of this reason, and they're getting their power back on, and it should be delivered at I'm like, if I tried to call FedEx, they wouldn't even answer the phone. Like, right. I love that about Redline. So I would rather use them. I like having the shipping insurance, and I like having the ability to track my stuff down.
Yeah, so I get my labels through Redline. I order all of our shipping boxes and containers through Reptiles Express, and all of my shipping bags are from Debbie.
Wow, so you just you're spread out. Yeah, I think they're it's I think we kind of do the same thing. I think we just find when it comes to like bags and stuff, we usually just find whatever's easiest. But I think we got all of our boxes from Redline this past time, and we ordered a ton of them because I'm tired of running out.
Well, Redline has been like, hey, get our boxes, blah, 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 and all this. And I was like, hey, out of respect, I just want to let you guys know I did switch over to using you guys, but I've been buying shipping boxes with Reptiles Express for 10 years, and that's not going to change, and all that. So I've just stuck with them, and Robin was very understanding. And again, I brought him a lot of customers, both companies. So, I said, hey, I like to spend my money with my friends and people I like and companies I like. So I like you both. I'm gonna spend money with both of you.
I think for us, it is kind of like, now that Robin is sponsoring the Redline Road Trip series, we'll probably stick to purchasing from them, also because it's easier to just do it all in one. But my favorite thing about buying in bulk from Robin is he puts in a back scratcher, a scraper, a million stickers, a kiss on the cheek. Everything's in that box. I'm a big fan of merch. So and I also really like the fanny pack. that they did. That was fun. Okay, well, I know I don't want to keep you super late. I know we've already gone an hour and a half. I do want to hear everything you've got to plug, and let us know anything else you want to talk about when it comes to the Southeast Reptile Expo.
Let me thank all my sponsors. Can you have to list the sponsors? Just a huge thank you to Morph Market. Again, we've been talking about this show since March when we were talking to you guys. I talked to probably 50 different people. Like, hey man, this Atlanta show is not happening, or is it happening? We were all on the fence about it. And Darian was like, hey, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna support you. If you need a sponsorship, if you need whatever. So they've stuck with us since the beginning, and till this day, he's still batting for us. I just want to thank all of our vendors that have signed up, that have even through all the drama for this, they are sticking with us. Even though it is our first show. Out of all the mistakes I've made with marketing, I've made a ton of mistakes, by the way. It's just like learning experiences. I ordered flyers and banners, and I was like, what in the world? Like, why did I do that? And then we ordered like terrible billboards that barely showed up, and some of that stuff. And I'm just so happy we use Adeline Robinson for our graphics. She's been amazing. And just, all the support between vendors and people who pre-bought their tickets. The vendors have been really boosting our show up and hyping it up. So all the upcoming attendees that we'll see in 2.5 weeks, can't wait to see you guys. Check out our vendor list that is published. We do have a current up-to-date list. You can check that out, and it's a stacked list. I mean, we have some of the best breeders coming in from around the country, guys driving in from 12, 14 hours to vend this show, which I'm so happy for, so stressed out about, but also excited. And really just looking forward to this show happening. And the community, I mean, reptile community like thrives on drama. Like every time,
it does.
Like anytime there's like some drama in the community, people just get so hyped up. Like I remember the Samson thing, and everyone got so fired up, and it kind of like unites everybody. I feel like this is one of those events where I'm seeing the breeders just really post a ton about it and spread the word about it, and trying to make this show happen so that we can have a show moving forward. I think everyone heard that I'm not going to do another show if it sucks, because I am not going to be one of those show promoters where I'm just like, well, the next one might be better. No, nothing changes if you suck the first time. That means, it just might not be meant for you. So if this show is good, we will have more shows moving forward. So hopefully everyone comes and supports and make sure we can have more shows and keep us in business. So check out the website, pre-order your tickets. Use code Leviathan for 10% off your tickets.
Yeah. We so just out of curiosity, how has the pre-sale gone? Have you been getting pre-sales?
I will be honest, if you asked me this exactly 7 days ago, I would be embarrassed to even tell you.
Oh, really?
7 days ago, I was looking at it going, man, we might as well just cancel the show. It was so bad. And then within the last 7 days, Troy told me this already. Troy said, you don't sell no tickets until 3 weeks out. Nothing happens 3 weeks out. And I was like, man, people need to buy tickets for my show. It's a big show, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, 3 weeks out, you're going to start selling your tickets. And then the week of the show is where all your tickets are going to be bought.
Yeah, I would imagine, because people are realizing.
He told me the Wednesday before his show was why the bulk of his tickets were sold, Wednesday and Thursday. And I was like, man, why people wait until their last minute? And I'm like, I do the same thing. Like I buy my tickets 2 days before a show. I go online and just click it because I know my schedule by then. I know 100% I'll be there. But our tickets actually for the last 7 days we sold more tickets in the last 7 days than we did the last 3 months. So
nice.
Yeah, and it's picking up. It's picking up more every single day. We're picking up momentum. I don't know if it's because all the vendors are so excited and blasting about it, but I really do think comes show week on Thursday, on Friday, I'm hoping to be able to share with the vendors our ticket numbers on Friday or something like that. Get everyone really hyped up and don't leave their animals at home, and then bring everything they got, hopefully.
Yeah. Awesome. Like, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't really like buying anything ahead of time. It stresses me out because I'm like, what if something happens? And then So yeah, I'm also like one of those people. I like to book things refundable, and I don't just in case.
I'm the exact opposite when I book. Like I book Airbnbs, I go with the non-refundable route. I'm like, I better go. Like I have to go once I book it.
Well, if you have money like me, you don't have to buy the cheap rate.
Yeah.
You get the. No, just kidding.
It's tough. It's tough for us.
I can't commit to anything, so I'm like, let's get refundable.
Troy, have you never know attention?
So there is not VIP, Troy. We're just general admission, but you guys do have discounts for kids, and then you have 1-day tickets as well, right? So you can get a 2-day ticket.
We have discount for kids. We have discount for military. We have discount for all kinds of stuff. Your vendor codes and all that stuff. So bring your friends, bring your family, bring everybody.
Bring everybody.
Bring everybody.
I was thinking. Like it might be cool to do maybe when you guys come back next year, because I know you're going to, for like our followers doing like a ticket giveaway before the show. Would that be something you'd be comfortable with?
Yes, that's what we need to do. We're gonna do that on Instagram this week, anyways. That's what we should do this show. We're 2 weeks out. We can still give out tickets.
All right, we got 50 people still in the chat. If you want to do a ticket giveaway,
let's do ticket giveaways.
Have them put what? Drop $1 in the chat.
Hell yes, even good thinking. Each one of them drop $1. We only got to give one ticket out.
We can do something like comment SERE. Is that something you're comfortable? Yeah, we'll give.
Yeah, we can do whatever. We have time, or we'll do it however you want, or you can do it in your Patreon. I don't care. We can do it wherever you want.
No, we'll do it right now. Comment SERE. In the chat if you want to be entered, and Steven's gonna figure out how to raffle that. We'll go ahead and put a timer on it for a couple minutes, I guess. So we're staying
9:45. We're raffling off a ticket.
Well, like I said, there's we just got like 5 more people jump in the show.
Yeah, so everybody jump on in, get you some tickets.
Yeah, comment SERE. You get no, it's giving away free tables. I can't make them send super chats. Not free tables, I meant free tickets. Free
table, man. I got people logging in just for that. Have you mentioned that?
Yeah. Daniel's trying to give away more here. Look, my mom's commenting. Mom, you don't need tickets. You're watching my kid.
Yeah, I got people coming out of the woodwork. So people logging on, calling their friends. Hey, log in real quick.
Yeah, we did. All right. Yeah, we got people come on. Thanks, guys. We got lots of people commenting that I feel like we do see a lot of people that we see every week in the comments, so it's really cool to see people commenting that I don't get to see their names all the time. So let me ask Steven really quick, what are we giving away, and do you know how to raffle this?
I'm gonna pick a random number, and I'm gonna literally.
Okay, what are we doing, 2 tickets from us?
Yeah, sure, it doesn't. Yeah, we can just give a pair of 2-day passes.
Yeah, a pair of 2-day passes. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna say we'll go like 1 more minute. We'll go through 9:44. If you haven't already, comment SERE in the chat. And then my mom says, my bad. Ignore my mom's comment.
All right, since we have time, Mary would like to remind me to tell you guys, share and follow us on Instagram. We need more Instagram followers.
And share the
Southeast Reptile Expo, and share the page and Facebook and all of that, and share the event, and let's get some people out there and make this a big event.
And when you see things like reels, because a lot of people are putting out like reels, go ahead and share them, because all of that interaction has things like Instagram boost those even more. Just when more and more people share them, it gets them more views and it gets more traction. And Instagram might even push those reels again. So,
and if you follow our page on Instagram, we're going to give out more tickets this week.
All right. Who?
Casey, I have the comment.
Oh, Casey Goff, you have won 2 2-day passes. Awesome.
2 2-day passes. Awesome. Yep, I'll send that out to you guys.
Yeah. SERE again means double chance. Yeah, I guess it kind of would have. But yeah, congratulations, Casey. Cool. Well, that was fun. Thanks for letting us do that. I'm excited, and I hope that the sales are picking. Well, not that they need to pick up, but like I'm glad to hear that they're picking up before the show. And I'm sure rigged. I didn't win. I'm just really excited, and we really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. If you guys don't already, please follow Bob's Balls on Instagram and Facebook. Go ahead and follow Southeast Reptile Expo. Share everything. We want as many people going to that show as we can get, because we want it to come back to Atlanta again next year. Thank you
guys for having
so
us.
much.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much for coming on, Bob, and we will see you guys next time.
All right. Awesome.